Why do some robots fall into the uncanny valley? Imagine walking into a room and seeing a robot that looks almost human but just a little off. It might make you feel uneasy or even a bit creeped out. That strange feeling is what scientists call the uncanny valley. It happens when robots look very close to humans but not quite right. This can cause discomfort because our brains expect certain things from human faces and movements. When those expectations are not met, it creates a mismatch that feels unnatural. The idea was first explained by a roboticist named Masahiro Mori. He noticed that as robots become more human-like, people tend to like them more. But there is a point where they look almost perfect, yet still have tiny imperfections. At that point, our emotional response suddenly drops. It is like a valley in a graph of how much we like the robot. If the robot becomes even more realistic and indistinguishable from a real person, our feelings go back up. One reason some robots trigger this feeling is because they are not perfectly human in their appearance. They might have realistic skin, eyes, or hair, but lack subtle cues like tiny facial movements, blinking, or breathing. These small details are things humans do without thinking, and when they are missing, the robot feels eerie. Another factor is how the robot moves. If a robot's motions are jerky or overly smooth and repetitive, it can seem unnatural. Humans move with small imperfections and variations, which robots often struggle to imitate convincingly. This mismatch in movement can make the robot seem creepy rather than lifelike. Emotional intelligence also plays a role. Robots that cannot respond with appropriate facial expressions or social cues tend to feel less relatable. If a robot looks human but cannot show empathy through its expressions, it creates a disconnect that makes people uncomfortable. Some scientists believe the uncanny valley exists because of an evolved instinct. Our brains are wired to detect and avoid potential threats like disease or death. When a robot looks almost human but has tiny flaws, it might subconsciously trigger our aversion as a safety measure. To avoid falling into the uncanny valley, designers often choose to make robots look more stylized or cartoonish. This clearly signals that they are artificial, so people do not expect perfect human likeness. Improving emotional intelligence is also key. Robots that can mimic human social cues better, like contact and facial expressions, tend to be more accepted. Ensuring smooth, natural movements is another way to help. When robots move in ways that match human norms, they feel less unsettling. Some robots like Pepper or a Mecha are designed with these principles in mind. They have human-like features but are carefully crafted to avoid triggering discomfort. Understanding why some robots fall into the uncanny valley helps developers create more relatable and comfortable robots for healthcare, customer service, and companionship. When robots look and act more naturally, people are more willing to interact with them and form connections. In the end, the uncanny valley happens because our minds notice the tiny imperfections in near-human robots. These small flaws clash with our expectations and create a feeling of eeriness. But with better design, emotional intelligence, and movement, we can bridge that gap and make robots feel more friendly and familiar.